Welcome to the Research Culture Uncovered podcast, where in every episode we explore what is research culture and what should it be. You'll hear thoughts and opinions from a range of contributors to help you change research culture into what you want it to be.
Hello, it's Nick, and for this episode we're heading to sunny Cyprus to the LIBER conference in Limassol, which I was fortunate enough to attend at the beginning of July. If you're not familiar with LIBER, it's an acronym for, and excuse my French, Ligue Internationale Bibliothèque Européenne de Recherche. And for the tragically monolingual, like me, that's the International League of European Research Libraries. This was my first time at a LIBER conference to take part in a panel proposed by Ian from the open access publisher PLOS, the Public Library of Science, whose surname I won't even attempt to pronounce, but who you'll hear introduce himself in a moment, when we got together at the conference the morning before the panel. And immediately afterwards, I sat down with fellow panelist Letitia Bracco, head of the Research Data Support Service in the Bibliometrics Unit at the Université de Lorraine in France. So that's also coming up later. The title of the panel was New Approaches to Measuring Prevalence and Impact of Open Science, and for which I was presenting an institutional perspective from the University of Leeds, albeit in the context of the Open Research Indicators pilot projects on which we're one of 24 UK universities working with the UK Reproducibility Network. See the show notes below for links and more information. In addition to Ian, Letitia and myself, the panel also included Rachel Bruce, Head of Open Research at UKRI, that's UK Research and Innovation, with a funder perspective, while Letitia provided a national perspective from France, as well as international context from a project with UNESCO. Ian, of course, was talking from the point of view of a publisher. I didn't manage to speak to Rachel, unfortunately, but if you're listening, perhaps we can get you on another time. As this was a plenary panel, we also recruited Masood Coker as moderator, our library director here at Leeds, or to give his official title, University of Leeds Librarian and Keeper of the Brotherton Collection. You can see a recording of the panel online, which I've also linked in the show notes below. Finally, the following morning, on the last day of the conference, I managed to catch a few words with Pedro Principe from the University of Minho in Portugal, who is also working on open science indicators through the Pathos project. So stick around for that conversation too. Check out the show notes for relevant links for each of this week's guests. For now though, here's Ian and me.
I'm here at the LIBER conference with my colleague Ian. I'll let you say your surname, Ian, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Ian Thrynaskiewicz.
So I'll call you just Ian, if that's
Please
all right.
do.
So you and I, we met in person quite recently. We're doing a panel this afternoon, aren't we, at the conference? And just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background and your work in open research.
Sure. So I currently work for PLOS, Public Library of Science, as Director, Open Research Solutions, and in sum, I'm responsible for a programme of activity to measurably increase the adoption of open science practices beyond the research papers that we publish. So I and my team spend a lot of time working with others within PLOS and also outside of PLOS, trying to understand and promote the adoption of things like sharing research data, sharing code and software, posting of preprints, and the pre-registration of research. And increasingly, we're also trying to think much more about not just how common are these practices and where are they uncommon, but also what effect are they having, what's actually the impact of them.
Yeah, and we've been working with you a little bit on UKRN, that's the UK Reproducibility Network pilot projects, haven't we, in terms of identifying indicators, some of those that you just mentioned, like pre-registration and data access statements and this kind of thing.
Yep.
And then you proposed a panel for the LIBER conference, where we are, as we speak, in Cyprus. It's very hot. We're in an air-conditioned space at the moment, but and I think we were a little surprised to get a plenary position on this panel, which is good, but we've got that this afternoon, haven't we?
Yeah, very pleasantly surprised to put in a panel proposal and then be invited to actually have the plenary session, the large amphitheatre room to host the panel. In a way, I imagine it may be a reflection of the growing importance or recognition of the need to monitor and understand both the prevalence and the impact of open science practices. So yeah, I'm really pleased that there seems to be good interest from the programme committee, and hopefully from the audience later we'll find out as well in this topic.
Yeah, perhaps I can offer some reflections on that later after we've done the panel. Is it about 3:30 this afternoon? We're talking now about
3:40.
Just before lunchtime.
Yeah.
And so the other colleagues on there, we've got Rachel Bruce from UKRI.
Yep, giving a funder perspective. Yep.
And we've got Laetitia Bracco from Université de Lorraine in France, and she's talking about the Open Science Monitoring Initiative, I think.
Yes, both the national initiative in France and also an emerging global initiative that's a collaboration with UNESCO that she's working on, that is aiming to establish global principles for the monitoring of open science. And of course, we've also got you as well, giving institution perspective. Yeah. So,
and the UKRN. So I'll be talking in the context of UKRN, but
I think it was important to have characterise it as an arc of from the institutional to the funder, publishers of course, but also national and then a global perspective as well. And we will briefly touch on the mode du jour of AI, artificial intelligence, but it's more in the context that it so happens that for the monitoring of open science, in some cases where scalable solutions have been found, artificial intelligence or natural language processing can be part of the solution to that problem. In some cases, but as we'll talk about, there's so much more to do, so much that could be monitored. But also, we really need to think about what is important and appropriate to monitor, because it really depends on the context, and a lot of the work that we've been doing, and I say we being publishers, but also in the UKRN, we're, for logical reasons probably, quite focused on monitoring outputs and the effects of those outputs. But of course, we also want to be thinking like, well, what's the outcome of all this? Are we making research better? Are we improving research culture? Which are the big questions, and often quite difficult ones to answer.
And that's been a theme, hasn't it, at the conference? I've been to quite a few talks talking about the fact that we haven't necessarily even sort of identified what the best indicators of open research are yet. And AI has obviously been the other big theme. Have you got any sort of takeaways from the conference that off the top of your head, sort of highlights for you? Or?
Yeah, well, I think, and this is a bit of a continuation of what I thought last year, having been to my first LIBER, and it was, I suppose, for someone in a role like mine, it was a pleasant surprise. I hadn't really appreciated how it's almost an open science conference, or open research. It's it's a really big theme. And reflecting the importance for the library community as well, I assume.
No, it's my first LIBER conference. I think you've been to a few before. But,
no, this is just my second.
One up on me. 100% more than me. But no, that's thanks, Ian. So. Thanks for your time, and let you get some lunch before we get ready for our panel later on.
Cool, thanks Nick. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
So that takes me back to a very hot day in Cyprus. And if you want to emulate the timeline, then you could pause now and watch the panel recording link below. Immediately after which, I sat down with Laetitia. So here's that conversation, where, to be honest, I think you can hear that we're both still a bit frazzled, as evidenced by me saying podcast when I actually meant panel. Anyway, back to Limassol. So I'm here with my colleague Laetitia from our panel. So hello, Laetitia.
Hello, Nick.
We've only recently met, haven't we? Been on this panel with Ian. I'm not even going to try and say his surname. He did say his surname for me this morning. But so Ian arranged this podcast, which we just delivered this within the last hour. How did you find it?
Oh, amazing! It's pretty recent then. Yeah, it's very exciting.
So we've just sat down after we've come out of the panel, and it was we were both a bit nervous, I think, but it went all right.
Yeah, I think it was great, very lively. We had an amazing audience with really interesting questions, and yeah, I think it went well. We'll come back to perhaps some of the things we were talking about, but just perhaps to ask you to just introduce yourself first, and where you are and what's your sort of job role, etc. Yeah, so my name is Laetitia Bracco. I work in France in the university libraries of Université de Lorraine. It's in the northeast of France, and I'm the head of the research data support management and bibliometrics services But I was here mainly because I'm co-coordinating the Open Science Monitoring Initiative, which is quite new.
So I've learned a little bit from you this conference about the Open Science Monitoring Initiative, that's different, is it, from the French Open Monitor? Could perhaps just give us just summarise what the two are and the relationship between them?
Yeah, so the French Open Science Monitor is a national dashboard with open science indicators regarding publications, research data, software. The Open Science Monitoring Initiative, it's coming from France, but we want it to be international. And our first action is to draft principles of open science monitoring that could be applied internationally, and that's why we asked for the help of UNESCO to broadcast this draft, to gather as many inputs from all around the world as possible, to have some guidelines about open science monitoring. How should we do it? Why? On what context, etc.
That consultation is still open. You just talked about that in the panel now, I think, and so on the podcast, when I publish this, I'll put some show notes and we could put links in and that type of thing. Could I put a link to it on the podcast?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's open until the 30th of November, so you still have plenty of time.
Okay, I'm going to have to speak to my colleagues then to get this podcast out well before that, so if we can advertise that. So you and I mean, it's been a bit of a theme at this conference, hasn't it? Open science monitoring. So the other project that went to the workshop yesterday. Is it only? I've lost track of the days. What day is it?
It was yesterday. The 4th of July.
It's just been busy, hasn't it? And hectic.
No, it's the 3rd of July.
Yeah. So you're as bad as me. So then that was the Pathos project. Have you done much work with them or?
We are currently trying to, gather forces and join forces and to contribute to the Pathways project, and we hope that they will also contribute to the principles because they are very, very complementary initiatives.
Really?
They are drafting, all possible indicators about open science, and we are trying to have guidelines for which indicators should we keep. Definitely OSME and PathOS will work together.
And they've got some really good resources that I need to explore more.
Yeah.
Again, I'll put them in the link to this, and I'm hoping actually to have a chat with Pedro, who is one of the colleagues. I don't know his surname offhand, but in any case, hopefully I'll get a chat with him as well. So you and I were both invited by Ian onto this panel to talk about our respective work with open science monitors, or open research, as we say in the UK, because I've been working with UKOM pilots on similar work, and we just thought we'd have a quick sit down now before we have a drink after the panel, but we can relax now, I think. And
yes, I think we are ready and we deserved some drink.
So before we do that, just to finally ask you, any particular highlights for you from this conference, or anything particularly notable? Or you've been to this conference before? I think this is my first time.
Yeah, it's my third, but the first one was online, so really it's
not the same.
It's not the same. I guess that open science is really the star of the conference. Everyone is talking about it.
Perhaps
AI. And I'm really interested in the different key elements that we are using in different countries, and I've noticed that in the UK you are saying open research, whereas we say open science. And
so again, Britain's different. Everybody else in Europe says open science, we say open research, but that's really to be, I think, more inclusive of the humanities, which is linguistically perhaps a bit of an issue. But it's been great. So it's been really good working with you. We'll have to stay in touch, and
me too.
Maybe even do another panel at some point. Not for a while though. But thanks, Letitia.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So, a bit frazzled, as I say. For the record, that was Thursday afternoon. I was still confused the following morning, as you'll hear now in my conversation with Pedro, who heard Letitia and I mention in the context of the Pathos project, and whose workshop we had both attended on Wednesday, I think, and which we can hear more about now. rather than on Friday morning. Here's Pedro.
So I'm here on the last day of the LIBER conference. I'm quite tired. I don't know about you. So I'm here with Pedro. Do you want to introduce yourself, Pedro, and tell us who you are?
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm Pedro Príncipe. I came from Portugal. I'm from the University of Minho in the north of Portugal. So we are members of LIBER and active in open science related projects and infrastructures and digital repositories.
And we have shared interest, I think, don't we, in open science indicators. So the first workshop I came to on Tuesday, was it?
Yes. On Wednesday morning.
Losing track of the days. Wednesday morning was your workshop. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing with that?
Yes, thank you very much. So it was about the open science indicators and the results and the work that a specific European project is doing. So PathOS, Path Open Science. So is, apart from other things, is developing an handbook of open science indicators and propose and suggest to the community. The idea is not that this handbook is not a kind of Bible, it's just a recommendation of a set of indicators and measurement metrics and data sources that can be taken by national initiatives, institutions and funders as an handbook, as a resource of information. So, and the idea of the workshop was to present the work and to get feedback, and really then to discuss a bit what are the gaps and the needs in this area currently. And we were lucky because in the workshop we have a very good number of participants, the participants that we wanted to have, and in fact the participants that are several of them involved in national or institutional initiatives discussing and thinking about these issues, which was really
great. And it's the handbook, is it called the
Open Science Indicators and
handbook? Yeah. So I was aware of it, but it's a really good resource because I was at the workshop. I'm going to look into that in a lot more detail. And then you also moderated a session, didn't you, on
open metrics and responsible indicators.
And then of course I did a panel with one of the colleagues who was presenting. So Letitia Brecco was presenting in that panel as well.
No, it was interesting because that topic, so I'm also part of the program committee of this conference, so I was aware that this topic was something that we wanted to have, and in fact there was proposals with quality that came to be presented in the program, which was really great. The panel that I moderated, I was expecting good quality, but I was surprised with the level of quality. It was really high because we have two specific cases from France, and then a discussion from two colleagues that they are from two different universities, from the Netherlands and from Spain, but they wanted to discuss and they wanted to present to the colleagues, which was really great. And your panel also yesterday on Thursday afternoon was really nice. I think at the end with this workshop and these two sessions, maybe other things, I think we can see that there are important developments, and even if we don't have even if in all the discussions around open science, we always say that we need to monitor, we need to implement indicators, but we don't have them. So now I think the sessions that we had around this topic, I think expose that we are in the direction, and if we continue to share this knowledge, different levels, because we have different levels here at institutional, national, different infrastructures, so the funders also count. So I think LIBER that did a good contribution, I think.
Yeah, it's been a really big theme of the conference, hasn't it? Any other reflections on the conference? Any other
Yes, I really like this conference. I always like it in the past, but when I did the Emerging Leaders course, I was more involved. I must say that this conference is like that moment that we stop a bit in the busy here that we have, and we can reflect and see other colleagues and then see the work that they are doing is a very good moment. Usually I also like to see and to talk with my colleagues from the Emerging Leaders cohort that we started when LIBER was in Dublin, and there are always very important things. Here I think there was also important presentations around RDM.
We sat, aren't we? We've just.
Yes.
I came to this one. We've both been in a session on research data management.
Several use cases to be presented in different countries, which was really good. And one thing that is good that LIBER also presented, maybe my last comment, is that we don't have only the hot topics. Open science is everywhere. So now with AI, so this is also the hot topic. But it's good because libraries need to still doing the other traditional things and need to manage collections, need to improve collections, to open the collections, and I think it's good because in LIBER we have the other topics, the old, the future, so based on some values that are also part of the strategy of LIBER, like inclusivity, diversity, and I think it's good. It's good because we don't. Sometimes the conferences just go for the hot topics and forget the other things. I think this is have a very good balance.
It's my first LIBER conference. I've not been before, but hopefully come to again. So it's been great to meet you, and hopefully we can stay in touch and keep working on.
Thank you for the invitation, and I will follow your podcast.
Thanks, Benjo. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening to the Research Culture Uncovered podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on our brand new episodes. And if you're enjoying the discussions, give us some love by dropping a 5-star rating and written review, as it helps other research culturists find us. And please share with a friend and show them how to subscribe. Email us at academicdev@leeds.ac.uk. Thanks for listening, and here's to you and your research culture.